So, back again to the second class on the last module of your computational physics paper. That is, we have discussed the freely falling body in our last class, and it is only the ideal case where no force is acting on the body other than the force of gravity. But in realistic case, when a body is falling, it generally falls through air, which is a fluid and which is a viscous medium. So normally when we are just dropping a ball from certain height from the earth's surface, the ball experiences some sort of viscous force which reduces its velocity. Okay, and you might have studied the Stokes law in your +2 classes. That is what happens, like the rain is falling, the spherical raindrop is falling from such a height, and when it is reaching or when it strikes human body, we never feel any pain. It is because it is coming with the uniform velocity. And do you remember that specific term related to the constant velocity? Just try to have a recall. Yes, it is the terminal velocity. Okay, so now what we are doing here is we are considering the fall of a body through a viscous medium. And specifically we are applying Stokes law. It is important, we are applying Stokes law for analyzing the motion of a spherical body. Stokes law describes the motion of a spherical body in a viscous medium, through a viscous medium. So the 2 points to be noted is here is that the force that retards the sphere, that is a spherical body which is moving through a viscous fluid, here we can assume it as air, is directly proportional to the velocity of the body, the radius of the sphere, and the viscosity of the fluid, that is air. And so the viscous drag force is represented by Fd. And according to Stokes law, the equation is 6 pi eta Rv. And eta is what? Coefficient of viscosity of the fluid. R is the radius of the sphere. Here it is written as small r, and I'll change it. Okay, it is small r here. And V is the velocity of the spherical body. Okay, and now next question is, I have already told you the technical term terminal velocity. How a body is going to attain terminal velocity? Okay, we know that dv, small change in velocity is what? A into dt, or A is dv by dt. And instead of dv I can write v1 minus v0. So small change in increment in velocity, v0 changes to v1. So v1 minus v0 is dv. And that is equal to g dt for a free fall. And I can write the new velocity is what? Old velocity plus g dt. And this is called the Euler method. Okay, we are basically what? A is equal to dv by dt means it is a first order differential equation. And you are solving this equation. Solving the equation means you are getting the value of v. That is, new value of v is what? Old value of v plus g dt. And this is what? Here using Euler method for solving first order differential equation, and I can just change this r small r also. Okay, to avoid confusion, and this is small b. Okay, so I can change that like that way. So what happens? New velocity is old velocity plus g dt, and this is Euler method. And dt, what? dt is equal to t1 minus t0 is equal to h, and this is called discretization. Discretization. That is, time interval is discretized. And we know that what? Dx by dt is equal to v. From this I can write, that is, rate of change of position is velocity. From this I can write dx. Dx is equal to v dt. And dx is what? In the similar way, we are again applying Euler method, that is, x1 is equal to x0 plus v into h. So new position is what? x0 plus v into h. And here what happens? This is normally what is happening. That is how you are going to solve a first order differential equation so as to get the position and velocity using Euler method. And here we are having one more force, that is viscous drag force. So our equation changes. When a body is falling through a viscous medium, what happens? The net force acting becomes the force of gravity is acting in the downward direction, and the viscous force which prevents the motion of the ball or the body in the downward direction is actually the direction of viscous force is in the upward direction, preventing the downward motion of the body. And I can write F is equal to what? Newton second law ma, and Fg is what? Mg, and minus 6 pi eta rb. From this I can get the expression for acceleration. A is equal to g minus 6 pi eta by m into v. And I can write A is equal to g minus kb, but k is a constant. Instead of this all constant, I will substitute it as k. Now what happens? My new velocity becomes v1 is equal to v0 plus what? Instead of acceleration, I can write g minus kv into h. And my new position becomes x1 is equal to x0 plus v1 into h, as we have done in the earlier case. Okay. And at a particular point, what happens? These are the two forces, Fg and Fb are the two forces which is acting on the body. And what happens? Fg is in the downward direction, Fd is in the upward direction. At a particular point, what happens? These two forces which are already opposite becomes equal. So net, the body is said to be in equilibrium. The net force acting on the body is 0. So Fg is equal to Fb means what? In this equation, you will get what? Fg is equal to Fb means F is equal to 0. F is what? Ma. That is Ma is equal to 0. M into dV by dt. M is a constant. Is equal to 0 implies dv m not equal to 0, that is dv by dt is equal to 0 means v is a constant. This constant velocity is called the terminal velocity that you have discussed or studied in the earlier classes. Okay. Now what you are going to do? You are writing a program to find the terminal velocity of a body moving through a viscous medium. Before writing any program, what you have to do? You should write an algorithm. Okay. Algorithm is what? Step by step method for writing the program. So I didn't include the algorithm here. If you go through the program, you can write the algorithm yourself. I have already discussed with you in the last class. For the algorithm, first one, you have to put 1 and write start. So next, what you have to write in the algorithm? While seeing this video, what you have to do? You just take your book and you should write the algorithm. Okay. First, what you have to do? You should know the initial position. So initialize position, velocity, time. Okay. And what is needed? If you are plotting something, we need what? We need a list of values for time. And here it is named as T dat, B dat and B dat 1. That is actually we are writing two cases here. That is why we need two lists for velocity. That is linear dependence of velocity. In Stokes law, we generally have linear dependence on velocity. Sometimes in other cases, there will be quadratic dependence on velocity. 6 pi eta rv is our equation. That is drag force is proportional to velocity. In some cases, the viscous force will be proportional to square of velocity. Here we have taken the simply the proportional to velocity in the case of Stokes law. The body need not be spherical always. So there will be quadratic dependence of velocity also. That we are plotting the two cases in a single program. So what is needed? So basically what you have to do? Initialize position, velocity and time. And you need initial, since we are plotting two graph means initial quadratic dependence of velocity is put as V. Linear dependence of velocity is put as V and the quadratic dependence is put as V1. Okay, so V1, H is what? A small change in time, that is discretization time step. And here instead of the constant K in this program we have put it as C. You can change it as K also, no problem. Okay, so here also I'll have to change it, or better you can change it there. Here I'll put it as C, and what I'll do? I'll change it here, okay, to avoid confusion. to avoid confusion, I'll put C here. Okay, C. So it will be C. Okay, I'll put C there. Okay, so I need initial position, velocity, time. In the case of quadratic dependence, I'll put a new velocity v1 and h is the time step, c is the constant. Since we are doing the plotting means I need a list for, so initialize a list for time, velocity and another velocity, that is v dash and v dash 1 and time. And next step in the algorithm is for I is equal to 1 to 300 do. For I is equal to 1 to 300 do. Then what I have to do? I'll have to write these equations that v is equal to what? New v is equal to old v plus 9.8 minus cv into h. And one more case is there. If it is dependent on square of velocity means v1 is equal to v1 plus 9.8 minus cv square into h. Okay. And these are the two steps we have discussed already earlier. And we are doing the iteration 300 times. This loop works for 300 times and time increment t is equal to t plus h. Now position is what? X is equal to x plus v into h. Okay. Okay. And v dat is what? V dat dot append v and t dat dot append t. And x, okay, and x we have position we are calculating only in the case of linear dependence on velocity. Okay, in this case we are not calculating the position, we just need to compare the terminal velocity in the both case only. Okay, need not consider the position. Now what you are doing, we are appending velocity, linear dependence of velocity case and quadratic dependence of velocity case to the corresponding list. I have initialized a list here. Initialized a list here. You can see initialized a list here. This is the initialized list. Okay. Now I can print all these values. It is not needed, compulsory. And this loop work 300 times. We'll get 300 values of v. We'll get 300 values of t. We'll get 300 values of v1. And after repeating 300 iteration, what happens? It might have reached the terminal velocity v and v1. We'll print that. Now what we'll draw? We'll plot a graph of t versus v, t dat versus v, time versus velocity and time versus quadratic dependence of velocity. And we'll plot it in a single, and these are the values that you're going to get. You can see as our iteration goes on increasing, what happens? Our velocity becomes constant. This is the linear velocity, it becomes constant faster. And the quadratic dependence of velocity v1 4.8. okay, this is the linear dependence. Okay, you can see here that is the position. Okay, and here first one is the velocity, and quadratic dependence means v square, so it attains the terminal velocity faster. And I have taken all the values. There will be 300 values. I have taken only the first values. Okay, so quadratic dependence means it reached the terminal velocity at a faster rate, and this is 223. It is not reached. Okay, it is already reached. Quadratic dependence of velocity reach the terminal constant velocity, but for linear dependence it will take much more time. Okay, and I have cut all the output. Okay, and this is the plot that you're going to get. This is the plot, that is velocity time graph. And what happens? It attains, in the case of quadratic dependence of velocity, it is the green plot. It attains the terminal velocity faster. And for linear case, it is what? It is at 23 or something. And in this quadratic dependence, it is at 4.8. And you have seen this result. 4.8. Okay, and 23. Okay, so this is how. And for every program, you need to write the algorithm. So in this case, how you going to write the algorithm? First, we just put the heading algorithm. Then just serial number 1, start. to initialize x, v and t, that is initialize position, velocity, time, initialize v1, h, the constant c, initialize list for v dat, list as t dat, v dat and v dat 1. This statement is not necessary. Then you directly move to loop, that is then you for I is equal to 1 to 300 do. Then after indentation write all these statements, v is equal to v plus, and this number the statements and write. This will be start will be 1 2 3 4 5, then this will be 6 7 8 9 10, and 10 as the 10th step you can write append v, t and t1 to v dat, t dat and v t dat respectively. Then you can write moving out of the loop, print terminal velocity v and v1. Then plot, no need of writing this title and all, you can just simply write plot t versus v graph, plot t versus v1 graph. That is enough. No need of all the statements. You can simply write print terminal velocity v and v1, then plot t versus t dat versus v dat and plot t dat versus v dat 1. That is enough. Okay, no need of writing x label, y label, two plots, show and all. Okay, that much is enough in algorithm. Then you go to the program. Next, what you have to do? You have to write what happens when you run the program. You have to put these headings. While it is asked as a question for your exam, you have to write the output window. Output window, time, velocity, velocity 1 and position will be printed. Then need not write the values, that because we might not be knowing the values. Then we'll have to print the terminal velocity. Then we'll have to plot the graph, the model of the graph. Then only you can get score complete marks. So whatever questions are asked for essay or a bigger marks related to program, what you have to write? First you have to write the theory related to the program. Then you have to write the algorithm, then you have to write the program, then you have to write the output screen, and you have to write the model of the graph or something else is there. Okay, this is the way how you're going to discuss, how you're going to, that is how you're going to write a program algorithm for a freely falling body for a body which is falling through a viscous medium by applying Stokes law in the case of linear dependence of velocity. And if there is a quadratic dependence of velocity, I can add one more term as v1 and v1 dat, and I'll have a comparison, in graphical comparison also can be made. Okay. So while discussing this, you just take down the notes. Keep in mind, write algorithm for all the programs. Okay, once you know the program, you can just make a comparison and write the algorithm. First, in the order is that first you will have to write the theory, algorithm, program, output and graphs. Okay, if there is any. So hope you have understood a freely falling body and again a motion of a body through a viscous medium. So next, these two cases that we have discussed is actually a one-dimensional motion. Next, we are going to discuss projectile motion. It is again what you have studied in your +2 classes. That is, you're going to solve projectile motion using Euler method, and it is a two-dimensional motion. Okay, projectile motion, that I'll discuss in my next class. So, if you are having any queries, just feel free to ask. Many of you are asking, but some is not coming and asking your doubts. And I am thinking that you are following. So, see you again next class. Okay.